Taken out in the American trash, 1471 First Avenue, New York City, Halloween 10/2010. Now, I'm standing at the urinal, and it's the big Halloween celebration in the men's room in American trash, and the devil strolls in, positioned himself next to me, and unzipped, glanced over, and I said, "Hi, it's Satan. Long time no see. How's the old demon tonight?" He coolly regarded me in the mirrors. Reflection in front of us, and corrected me and said, "That's Lucifer to you, son." He asked what I was supposed to be. And I said, "I'm a beat writer," I replied. He smirked, finished pissing, vanished in a plume of fire and brimstone. And I thought, what, no deal? So I retreat back in the bar room of humorless costumes, the night of the mass pass, with the dead captain singing "Love Won't Keep Us Together" with the ring-torse dildo attached to his loins. It was a bar game. He's saying "Love Won't Keep Us Together" when this guy dressed as Bad Barbie in the box strolled in, still in the box, before it was popular, with a 5 o'clock shadow and an unlit white Al Tipperero, ordered a drink next to me at the bar. And of course, she had a proposition for me. Or he. Gender trouble. Good.
Hey, Vince, you remember Johnny E? John Enright?
Johnny, no surrender.
Didn't think so. You could always find Johnny E in the last seat at the end of the bar for happy hour at the International over on First Avenue. Three Fingers Bushmill, neat. Always dressed to the nines, with a carefully arranged and shellacked comb over, wearing that classic powder blue polyester sport coat he got 40 years ago back in '72 on his way home from Nam. "Hey, Johnny E, I haven't seen you for a while. Where you been?" Fucking ambulance took me to emergency room at Bellevue instead of the VA hospital. 8 weeks I'm there with pneumonia, and then they tell me I got a fucking bad liver to boot. And the goddamn landlord rented out my apartment to a woman with a kid. He hasn't seen or heard from me. He thinks I'm dead. 35 years of my life he threw in a fucking dumpster. And then my car's missing. I go down to the tow pound. They auction off my car for $75. They said I owed $2,300 in tow charges, fines, and storage fees. Hey, I got $468 in my saving account. I'm running out of fucking options there, you know? Spends happy hour at the International for a few more weeks till his stash runs out. Just trying to stay warm, keep a little buzz going. The weather gets colder, panhandling ain't working for him either. I run into him again. He's sleeping on a heat vent by the Chase Bank on 2nd Avenue. I spot him at 20. "Hey, Johnny E, how's it going, man?" "Rejoice, rejoice. We got no choice, right? Maybe I need to try the VA again, huh? You know, I was a door gunner on a Huey back in Nam. Company A, 1st Battalion, 35th Infantry. I lit up a lot of VC with that big 50, man. No retreat, no surrender. Fucking A, brother, they owe us." I don't see Johnny anymore that winter on the street or at the International. Late one night, I'm over at Black and White on 10th Street, shooting the shit with Harry the Hat. Out of nowhere, he says, "Hey, remember Johnny E? Frankie the cop tells me they found him dead over at the St. Mark's Hotel back in March. Yeah, he was face down at a Swanson TV dinner. Mac and cheese, I think. Still wearing that fucking polyester sport coat. You know, it was sad. Frankie said nobody claimed his body. You believe that shit?" Hey, buddy, Three Fingers Bushmill, neat. With Johnny E, no retreat, no surrender. Fucking A, brother.
And understanding. Now, my bartender, who is a perceptive man, told me a story the other night when the subject turned to redheads. One had just walked in the door, and we expressed our mutual admiration wordlessly. But my bartender says, when I first came to town, it was after a breakup of an 8-year affair. I was a mess. I was soon able to get this job here. And then I'm starting to get my ass on straight, and one early evening, not too long after that, I'm working the opening shift, and in walks this very nice-looking redhead and orders a mixed drink with a cherry in it. So I fixed it up for her and set it down. She does this fake pout and says, "Hey, this cherry doesn't have a stem on it." And I go, "You want a cherry with a stem on it?" And she says, "Yes," grinning at me. "And if you get it for me, I'll show you a magic trick." So I'm game. I took this one out of the bar, place it in the drink. She smiles, pulls it out by the stem, licks the cherry's ball indolently with the tip of her tongue, gently places it in her mouth, and her jaw kind of moves sideways, and her lips twitch. And I'll be damned, in about 10 seconds, she didn't open her mouth and stick out her tongue, and there, displayed proudly in the middle of the tongue, was the cherry with the stem firmly knotted. "No shit," I said. "What happened next?" My bartender just looked at me, polishing the glasses with a rather deadpan, amused expression, and the eyebrows slightly arched. "Oh, I see," I remarked, taking a long pull off my beer. "You know, I think that's why me and my bartender get along so well. We have this understanding." Remember the old guy from the first poem? Oh, he's back. This is called Another Barfly, but it's the same barfly. Yeah, and he's still driving the damn vintage motorcycle, and he wants a chilled mixed drink, kind of like a milkshake with vodka. Bartender doesn't really want to be bothered. But he's the other bar pie, and he's telling that same story. He wants to be your pal, wants his vintage motorcycle to run great, but it needs a coat of paint. Another barfly wants something to crawl on. He wants to ride his vintage motorcycle down to the lake and look for all the lost years and scenes, but nobody's around anymore, however. Some got old. Some got dead. Some grew up. So another barfly finishes his booze malted and beats it, draws heat, draws comments, rubbernecks, cruising for a bruising. Good thing he left. Now, but then some old legitimate veteran shows up, and it's his birthday, and he hasn't had a drink since New Year's, and he's freshly fallen off the wagon, and he remembers everything. Bartender makes him a birthday house special, hands him a lit sparkler, and puts on the Rolling Stones. And then the old vet starts bringing the bar back to life.
Are you dangerous? My friend Blair registers with this online dating site, fills out the form, and posts a pic. Within a few minutes, she gets a text response from some guy who says he likes her nose. She doesn't respond. Moments later, he texts again asking, "Are you dangerous?" Again, she doesn't respond. A few minutes pass. He sends her a dick pic. Real romantic we got here, huh? In what universe is that supposed to be some kind of turn on? He has no idea at all who the hell he's dealing with here. Let's take it back to the "are you dangerous" question for a minute. It's Sunday afternoon. She's sitting alone at the far end of the bar at Identity on 6th Street, chatting up my buddy Shane, the bartender. I come in, I take a seat at the opposite end. The joint's empty except for the two of us. I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes watching her bat her eyes at him. Shane seems oblivious to my presence. I clear my throat, I cough a couple times, and then I finally fake a very loud cough, extracting him from her talons. He strolls over and he mixes up my usual. We pick up exactly where we left off last Sunday. Usual barfly bullshit conversation. She's eavesdropping. Later tells me she knew immediately that A, I'm someone who wouldn't notice her or remember her, and B, I'm someone whose skin she definitely wants to get under. Part A, not true. I don't make a habit of starting conversation with strangers drinking alone in an empty bar on Sunday afternoon. Figured maybe they might be needing some space. But what the fuck? Let the games begin. She begins with Bukowski, do I like him? Becomes very apparent very quickly that whatever I reply will be immediately rebutted with a deliberately opposite opinion. Devil's advocate? I'm thinking more like happy hour ball buster here. So part B true, someone's getting under my skin. You pissed me off. Mission accomplished. I responded kind. Call it fate, destiny. I keep running into her at all my favorite joints. She saw me like a pit bull that won't let go. She verbally challenges me on everything. Not what begins as a confrontational duel of wits slowly and imperceptibly grows into fascination, respect, and finally a challenging and enduring friendship, flavored with happy hour whiskey and lots of stimulating conversations. So, to the point, is she dangerous? I'm thinking of us watching as she inhales long and slow in that American Spirit menthol. Her idle hand taps softly on the bar. A dirge of broken hearts, false starts, and roads going nowhere. So, dangerous means tangling with some sexy, smart lady who can go shot for shot with you while fucking with your head and you're still liking her. Then yeah, she's dangerous, very fucking dangerous. And I like her nose too.
It could happen to you. Back when I was teaching at the county jail, I went down to the booking room to get a fresh cell block assignments for the night's class, for the alpha list. And I pass the isolation box and I hear my name being chanted over and over. Now this is hard. His voice resounds from behind the plexiglass. None of the COs even looked up for their duties, except for the one matter-of-fact wisecrack from the desk sergeant who said, "Old flame of yours?" Evidently, the COs had warehoused him in the box awaiting stabilization to the psychiatric ward. On my way passing the box, I gave a quick glance towards the plexiglass. I know I'm asking for it. Why did I do that? And he leers out at me, full-blown aqualung Rasputin, spitting, smudging the fucking plastic, going, "You fucking bastard," he screams. "I know you, you're nothing but a motherfucking yellow coward. In fact, you're a purple motherfucking coward. I've walked around in your life, I've seen you on the street, and man, when I get out of here, I'm gonna tell you." The tirade spewed forth, and I exited around the corner to the elevator, and I could still hear him cursing at me, ranting my name, even after the door shut. So I rode the elevator to the classroom, and I thought, okay, now let's review. I'm on the radio 10 years ago on a Sunday afternoon playing jazz, and this guy calls me up full of claims he hung out with Chet Baker, and them sharing a woman and having them unreleased tapes of Chet Baker, and did I want to hear him? Well, of course I wanted to hear him. I interviewed him, did a show around the material, and really that had been it. And now, as I unlock the door in the classroom, I think some more, I wonder what his old friend Chet would think about this, and if any of this guy's stories about his tapes were pirated from somewhere else in the first place. Gotta admit, it got to me. I asked the shift sergeant what the story was with Chet's pal. "Oh, him," Sarge goes. "He's been slipping down for a week. They're getting a rubber room out of Lakeshore. Hell, I don't know, we weren't trained for this." And he smiles and looks at me and says, "So what's up with you? That's your second old friend up here this month. You gotta expect this after all this time. You're just having a bumper crop of old-time used-to-bes. It happens from time to time. They're gonna turn up. Considering your past, which you keep pretty close to the vest, it's the law of averages. It could happen to you." Driving back down the hill after work, I'm still thinking about it. Maybe I'm a little embarrassed, a little pissed off. All that verbal abuse and madness blindsided a la carte, just today's special on the Little House menu. But there was more than a kernel of truth what that guy was yelling about that night. You put all our rolls together, there's barely enough for a decent sandwich, which I ordered pronto when I hit the bar with a cold one. And I'll be damned as the radio in the back of the bar played Chet Baker's long, thin, sad trumpet notes from a 1958 recording called "It Could Happen to You."